Hello, my Teaserking family. I hope everybody's well. How's everybody today? What's going on? Nice sunny Saturday morning. So I had a nice good morning from Daria. Always peps up my day as much as when I don't hear from her, it screws my day up. Anyway, we'll go through baseball and college football. We'll again look at week one. Update the lines, see what's going on. Baseball, terrible day in baseball yesterday. Yeah, not too good. But let's start with baseball. Yesterday, Detroit under 7. So here's the problem with baseball. So Skubal, with his 2.2 ERA, gives up 7 runs. And I forgot who they got killed by. What was it? Let's see. They get killed by KC. And you know what kills me about like the Tigers? They keep trading away their good players for nothing, for prospects. Either the guy can hit it or the guy can't. I'm sure when Mickey Mantle played in the minors for 30 games, I'm sure they knew like right away they could see he could hit and he could field and he was fast. I mean, it was pretty obvious. The Tigers are so clueless. I mean, they get Verlander for nothing. They get JD Martinez for nothing. They get Scherzer for nothing. But you have to pull back the corner to see what's really going on. They're not trying to get good players. They're doing it for money. They're like the Lions. Well, I make so much money and I cut my payroll. So anybody who's any good, they dump the payroll and get a minor leaguer for him. Maybe he'll be good. They don't even want him to be good. If he's good, they have to pay him. You ask Skubal, they won't pay. They'll let him go. And they have nobody on the team that's any good. It's just all minor leaguers. Or guys you never heard of, or they'll try to say, look how good he hit. There's a guy, Malloy, who's hitting a whopping 210. They're trying to add him, he's the guy of the future. Dude, he hits 210. We're not stupid. So it's, again, they get weak players. It's all about dumping salary, which is what the Lions usually do. And they then they're always bad. Since Verlander left, they haven't done, I don't think they've had over 500. That's about 10 years. And with what the moves they make, it'll be another 10 years of watching them in basically last place. Look at KC was terrible last year. Now they're like one of the best teams. Minnesota, they were terrible. Now they're one of also a good playoff team. And they just continually, Illich's son is just, Illich wanted to win, so he would pay more and get the good players because that's how you win. You win with stars. Football, we need Mahomes. And not here. So in baseball, it's nobody's good. And then they kind of had Cabrera, which I don't know why they didn't just cut him loose and renegotiate his contract and say, "Yeah, you're making about $100,000." That's what I would have done, or just let him go and paid him out like Russell Wilson. It does happen. So they just, so they let another pitcher go. So let me get this straight. They get a pitcher who's sucked, and then he gets better on the Tigers because he realizes this is his last chance. And then when he pitches well, the Tigers then get rid of him. So why did you sign him in the first place then? Who'd you get for him? Well, nobody. Heckle and Jekyll. And it's all about saving payroll. It's disgusting. And then they try to sell it like, well, we have prospects. The prospects are prospects. They're not major leaguers. Get a major leaguer. So you give up a major leaguer for a prospect. Just amazing. Anyway, Pittsburgh under 8.5. That goes over. Washington over 9. That's a winner. The Yankees over 9. That's a winner. Baltimore over 9. That's a winner. Got a little greedy with Miami over 9. That didn't get there. Then we go Minnesota under 8.5, which is good pitching, but they went over. The surprise, Houston over 7.5. Didn't get there. Philly under 8, of course, Philly hit a bunch. And San Diego over 8, of course, didn't get there. So it was a lousy day. Let's recover. So today we got a couple of afternoon games. Well, we got 3. Let's start at the beginning. We got Toronto and the Yankees. Yankees have been hitting the ball. Yankees are 225 favorite, 9.5 in New York. Jose Berrios 9-8 with a 3.93. Carlos Rodon 11-7 with a 4.34. There's only one way to play this game. We're going over 9.5, 3 units. Yankees have been hitting the cover off the ball for a good month now. They had like 15 runs a game against Boston. And clearly Jose Berrios is not about to slow him down. 9-8 with a 3.93. But Carlos Rodon is 4.34, so it should be a very high shoot. It should at least be 2 touchdowns. The Cardinals at the Cubbies, St. Louis minus 105, 8.5. Kyle Gibson 7-4 with a 3.97. James Talion 7-6 with a 3.35. Pretty good. Who won yesterday? St. Louis. I didn't play the game. They got St. Louis as a 105 favorite, so it's really a 105. See, Kyle Gibson, like a 4 ERA. What does that do for you? This is the unknown one. If he's raw, look at whatchamacallit on the Tigers yesterday. Schoolbowl, 2.27 ERA, and he gives up 8-9 runs. So you're only looking at the ERA to give you a guidance, but that's why you don't bet a lot, because he gives up 9 runs. Well, wait, he's supposed to give up 2 runs. Should give up 2 runs, but that's the problem. Apparently he has a problem with Kansas City, and the catcher hits like 500 against him. Hit a home run, hit a single, got a walk. So he had trouble with that. I'm going to pass on this. I think the Cubs could win, but Kyle Gibson could shut him out. He's got a 3.97. This is what I'm noticing. The pitchers in the 4s throw a shutout or give up 9 runs, and there's really no way of telling. Milwaukee, Washington. Here we go. Milwaukee minus 125 and 9. Aaron Chevalier for Milwaukee, 2-7 with the 4.92. DJ Hertz, 1-4 with the 4.79. And we are going over 9, and we will go 3 units. So this is an easier one. Both pitchers with a 5 ERA and a 4.8 ERA. So there's going to be runs, and we just got to go 9. Both teams can hit pretty good. Washington's been getting hot. So I prefer that over the Cubs, where I really got a 3.5 and a 3.9, and you're not sure. Here, both suck. 2-7 against a 1-4 record. KC Detroit. KC's a 145 favorite 9. Detroit's got the bullpen guys going again. What a great manager, just bullpen guys. Kansas City, I don't know who they got, but I'm going to go over here. KC over 9 and 3 units. I don't know who KC's pitcher is, but I know they pitched Lugo the other day. So you notice how the streak went. Detroit was scoring a lot of runs for like 2 weeks. Not anymore. No, it's 1 or 2 runs, but they're now giving up 7, 8 runs a game. And KC beats Skubal, they'll have no problem with the bullpen guys. So they'll crush them there. So I'm really betting this on KC, getting the 9 runs by themselves. Arizona at Pittsburgh, very high scoring game yesterday. I was shocked. Pitt minus 128.5. Jordan Montgomery, 7-5 with a 6.51 ERA against Mitch Keller, 10-5 with a 3.30. Do we go over or do we take Pitt? Mitch Keller, yeah, let's take Pitt. Just 2 units. It's good at home. A solid pitcher, 10-5 with a 3.30 against 7-5 with a 6.51. See, now you've pitched enough game, right? This guy's got 12 decisions plus probably another 10 where he didn't get the decision on. The other guy's 10-5. So you know the pitcher, right? So in the beginning, we don't know the pitchers. Then when we get the 0-0 with the 0-0-0, we don't know the pitcher. We know the pitchers here. So this guy with a 6.51 ERA and he's 7-5. What's he doing? I mean, Montgomery, I think, didn't he pitch for the Yankees or something? But he don't have it anymore. Boston at Texas, we have no pitchers, probably bullpen day. Boston minus 110.8. There's nothing. I'll wait for Scherzer, although he sucked last time. Nothing we can do here. The White Sox at Mini. I had Minnesota under, and they scored 20 runs in this game yesterday. Minnesota 225 and 7.5. Garrett Crochet, 6-8 with a 3.23 against Bailey Ober, 10-5 with a 3.76. Now, I did this yesterday. I said, it's an under, and they didn't go under. So I'm very streaky, believing in streaks, so I'm not going to fuck with this game. This looks like an under, but I'm going to not get caught into that. So I'm leaving it alone because the play is under with 2 pitchers with 3-point ERAs. Baltimore at Cleveland. This was a good one. I had Baltimore over, and they got 20 runs. Baltimore minus 115, 8.5. Zach Eflin, 6-7 with a 4.11 against Joey Cantino, 0-0 with an 8.10. Problem is the Cleveland bullpen is outstanding. So, if they don't get him in 5 innings, they're not going to get him. But Cleveland should hit the hell out of Eflin and Baltimore. We're going to go over, but very carefully. Over 8.5. 3 units. Well, we got the over yesterday, and this should be the same, so we'll go over. The 49ers and the Bengals, a preview of the Super Bowl. Joe Burrow against Joe Montana. We got Cincinnati minus 135.9. We got Kyle Harrison, 6-4 at 3.69 for the Niners, and Hunter Green, 7-4 at 2.97 for Cincinnati. So we're going to go under 9 here. We'll go 3 units. This was probably one of the few games I didn't play yesterday. So with these 2 decent pitchers, Frisco's not been hitting since he comes and goes. All right. A surprise yesterday. We had Houston over 7.5. They didn't get there. I don't know what happened there. Houston minus 155.8. We got Zach Littell 4-7 with the 4.18 against Ronald Blanco 9-5 with the 2.95 and the no hitter. But he's been a little disappointing. Let's see, the last 3 or 4 games. He last 5 games he gave up 4 runs against the Dodgers, 4 runs against Seattle, 2 runs against Texas, 2 against Miami, 2 against Toronto, and 6 against the JETSs. Hardly, so it's a lot of, the last 2 have been 4, so something's not right with him. See, that's the problem. He no-hits the Tigers, and then you're like, oh, he'll do it against everybody. And that's the problem with baseball. There's so many different, batters that he's good against one team doesn't mean he's good against the other. And that's what we call matchups. So I'm going to just take Houston and hope he pitches good for 3 units. After losing the over yesterday, I'm a little bit leery with Houston, although today they'll probably get 10 runs. Zach Little, 4-7 with 4.18. They should have a good day hitting, and Bianco, hopefully at home, pitches a little better. I think these guys get a little tired. And Philadelphia, Ranger Suarez falling off a little. This guy's falling off a little. So the 2.95 is deceiving because, as I just read you, in the last 2 games he gave up 4 runs, but he gets blended in with all the innings he pitched. So, yeah, we'll take Houston because of the pitcher's 4.18. Probably over 2, I would think. Miami, Atlanta minus 250.9. Kyle Tyler 0-2 with the 4.74 against Grant Holmes. 0-0 with a 2.54. Is he a reliever? I hate when they put the reliever as the starter. They don't tell you that. So you think, oh, he's a pitcher. Yeah, he's a reliever. 1 inning, 2 innings, 3 innings, 5. So this guy's a reliever. So we got to look at Atlanta. Atlanta's bullpen, not bad, 2.94, and they hit 240. So this looks like an under. Kyle Turner is probably also a bullpen guy, 0-2 with the 4.74. How do you bet Atlanta to win with all the bullpen guys? And yet they're minus 250. That's crazy. I'm letting go on this one. Colorado, San Diego. We had San Diego over 9 and over 8, and it didn't get there. They got a lot of hitting San Diego, but Colorado doesn't hit well on the road, as we know. San Diego's minus 210. Tanner Gordon, 0-3 with an 8.80 ERA. Jesus Christ. Martin Perez, 2-5 with the. Okay, so we got to go over again today based on the pitching. Over 8.5. And we'll go 3 units. So we got to be like a jump shooter that misses a few shots, but he keeps shooting. He's got to have no memory. Or the quarterback that throws 2 interceptions. Okay, but now I'll stop throwing interceptions. So, okay, we lost a few yesterday, but you got to – and it's funny how confidence affects you. The other day I nailed all of them, and I was, I'll take this and this and this. Then you have a day like yesterday, and you're like, well, I don't want to bet that. I don't want to. So you got to just, if it's a good game, you bet it. If it's a bad game, you stay away. And don't push or crash or tilt. That's funny. When people try tilting me at poker, it never works because I'm so strong mentally that I just shake. I give them one of these. No. You're not tilting me, fellas. And I just laugh at them. But you can't tilt me because I just let the cards do the talking. 2-9, I'm not playing it. Oh, I got ace king. Yeah, I think I will play it. Even if I get burnt on the hand, I'm still not going to tilt. I won't tilt. I'm not going to let you tilt me. So anyway, that's what the mentality is here. The difference is football is once a week. So you might get a good matchup or a bad matchup. Baseball's every day. So, who knows this toss salad we're getting here. Where the hell am I? San Diego. Okay. The Dodgers and the Raiders. We got Snake Stabler quarterback today. We got LA minus 185.8. Jack Flaherty, who came from Detroit, who was pitching pretty good against Mitch Spence, 7-6 with the 4.47. So Flaherty with Detroit, 7-5 with the 2.95. They let him go. They get nobody from the Dodgers. Prospects. Yeah, the Dodgers are a real good team. Yeah, okay. And then Spence, 7-6 with 4.47. Flaherty. I'm going to let this go. Probably, he's been pitching well, but now he's in LA. It's a whole different environment. The Jets is against the California Angels. The Jets are 135.9 for the Jets today. Joe Namath, 5-1 with a 3.52 for California. Jose Soriano, 6-7 with the 3.69. No, it's David Peterson, 5-1 with the 3.52 for the Jets. What do you do with it? Let's see. What do we have yesterday? We didn't play it. So let's see. The Jets are a 250 batting average and a 422. So their bullpen sucks. And California, 235, and their bullpen sucks, 4.53. We got two decent starting pitchers, 3.52, 3.69, so that doesn't compute. If we get to the bullpen, we're fucked. 9's a big number. I'm going to leave this alone. And our last game is Philly at Seattle. Seattle minus 120.8. Orion Kirkering for Philadelphia. Who the hell is this guy? 2-2 with a 2.21 against Bryce Miller. 8-7 with a 3.46. I haven't seen Ranger Suarez's name up here for a while. He must be hurt, or he just started to suck, so they benched him. This guy's a bullpen guy. A lot of one innings, so look for this, Philly's got to go to the pen, and Philly's pen is a 3.87, not bad, but it's a whole game bullpen. Seattle, Bryce Miller, 8-7 with the 3.46. Yeah. Can't bet Philly. I got all bullpen. I can't play Seattle because they're playing Philly. Philly will score. Let's go over here just because it's Philly. Bryce Harper's hot, over 8. Yeah. We'll go 2 units. And that be it. So let's take a look. We got the Yanks over 9, 3 units. Washington over 9, 3 units. KC over 9, 3 units. Pitt, 2 units. Baltimore over 8, 3 units. Cincinnati under 9, 3 units. We're taking Houston. San Diego over 8.5, 3 units. Philly over 8.5, 2 units. I like the overs more than the unders. I mean, there's a few under teams, but I had the Sox under, I think, yesterday. And that didn't work out. So anyway, avocado time. So I wait till after 11 to eat. So anyway. So that's today's baseball. Again, we're looking at starting pitching and bullpen. And then we're playing streaks. The White Sox, did the White Sox win yesterday? The White Sox have lost 17 in a row. Let's see if they have won yesterday. Let's see. No, they lost 10-2 to Minnesota. So we're going to take Minnesota today. We're going to take Minnesota for 5 units. betting betting that the White Sox won't win again for the rest of the year. What do we got here? Yeah, Bailey over against Croquet, who's 6-8 with a 3. Okay. Minnie's a 225 favorite, but we're going to take Minnie because Chicago hasn't won in a month. So let's add Minnesota strictly on the streak that the White Sox, and we can only lose one bet. If Minnesota sweeps them, we win. But if Minnesota loses, then you're off of them. And that's how you play. If you're playing roulette and red keeps coming up, you don't fucking bet black. You keep betting red. You can only lose one bet. You can't say anything's due. It's the streak. So you bet on the streak, never against it. Baseball team wins 7-8 in a row. You just keep betting them until they lose, and then you lose one bet. You only lose one bet, then you get off. So if red's hitting roulette, you hit red. Black hits, you're done. Now, if black starts coming, then you bet on black. Mostly this is good in back rack because you can bet the player or the bank. And normally there's a lot of streaks in back rack. So you just bank. I'll bet bank until they lose. Then I watch, and if player hits, that's the thing with back rack. You can watch the game without actually having to make a bet on it. So you'd be at the table and you bet whatever. And then, okay, now it's bank. You bet bank, and then player hits, and then you just watch. And if player hits again, then you bet player. If it doesn't hit, then you're confused and you just wait for a streak. Unless you're James Conn, then you win 4 in a row and walk away. Very disappointing in James Conn now. All right. College football. All right, here we go. So that's baseball. College football. We start off August 24th, which is 3 weeks from today. Florida State, Georgia Tech. Florida State 13, 55.5. We got Ooglia Booglia quartering for Florida State, and Kings is back for Georgia Tech. The defense, last year's defense is all I can, hope that helps. Florida State was great, 16 defense. Georgia Tech was a 30 defense. I expect Georgia Tech to get a little better defensively, but they have the same coach. Kings, they're a good over team. They score a lot. Again, the first game, so I want to go with the quarterback I know than the other one. Ooglia Booglia I know sucks, so I'm not excited about taking Florida State here. SMU minus 25, 57 to Nevada. Same spread. SMU was a very good team last year, a 17 defense. Nevada had a 33 defense. Both quarterbacks are returning. Then we get to August 29th. We got Minnesota 2 and 50.5 to North Carolina. Both teams had a 27 defense. So when I say that, it's their defense gave up 27 a game. So we know it ain't a good defense. Conversely, you look at Georgia's defense, normally it's a 10 or 11. Ohio State, not Alabama. They're usually Alabama last year was an 18. So, I mean, it's something under 20, is a very good defense. When you get them under 10, like Georgia, you just bet the unders. So they gave up 27, and we know both quarterbacks are new. So North Carolina doesn't, this coach, the only reason he won a title is because he had Vince Young and he just ran him. He wasn't a good quarterback, but he never had a good defense. All right. Colorado, 8.5, 58.5 to North Dakota State. Good luck with that one. We know Prime, he can score, but he don't have a defense. And I don't know what North Dakota State is, so I'm not looking at this game because I don't know how North Dakota State's coach, I think, went to a bigger school as their defensive coordinator, I was reading. So Colorado here, 8.5. Good luck with that. You prime people. Jacksonville State, 3.57 to Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina's quarterback's returning. Jacksonville State's got a new quarterback. This is a Rich Rodriguez team. We know he has usually a good offense. They had a good defense last year. They gave up 20. Coastal Carolina gave up 25. So we'll see what happens there. Missouri, 47.5 over Murray State. Murray State's Division II, so I don't really talk about that. Utah, Cam Rising back, 37.5, 52 to, I don't know, SUU. I think it's Southern Utah. Michigan State, 11.5, 47. This is now on the 30th. So 10th, 17th, 24th, 30th. So this is Friday. 4 games on Friday. So Michigan State, 11.5, 47. Both teams have new transfer quarterbacks. Michigan State got the Oregon backup last year to Uglia Buglia, who's supposed to be pretty good. Childs. New coach, the Oregon State coach. Look for a much better Michigan State team. Florida Atlantic, another new transfer quarterback. They gave up 25 a game. Michigan State gave up 22, which is amazing. But the Big Ten was so bad last year. We'll have to see how it is. Well, it's already better. You got USC and UCLA and Oregon and Washington in it. So it's going to be a much better conference with 100 teams in it. So look for Michigan State to be much improved. Oklahoma, 42.5, 59.5 to Temple. Temple gave up 36 a game last year. Oklahoma only 22, which is kind of bad for them with their coach, who's a defensive coordinator. Both quarterbacks are new, and Temple has a new weak quarterback. So the quarterback Temple's got's terrible. Oklahoma is starting he's starting a Lamar. The guy, I'll just call him, when they kind of run and they can pass a little, we'll call him a Lamar. So they got a Lamar type of quarterback, a runner who maybe can pass. So we'll see. But it'll be a lot of running from the quarterback, which we know never works. Only when Oklahoma ran the wishbone did it work with Barry Switzer. Let's go. Wisconsin, 24, 56.5 to Western Michigan. Both teams have new transfer quarterbacks, although Wisconsin's Tyler Van Dyke is outstanding from Miami. I'm glad he transferred there. They were ruining him there. I don't know who Western's got. Western gave up 32 a game last year. Wisconsin 19, which is kind of high for Wisconsin. You wouldn't think. The way, as bad as the Big Ten was, you would have thought it would have been like a 12. I think the coach is in a little over his head, Luke Fickell. They ran to the air raid last year. It didn't work with the SMU quarterback. Now they're going to try it with Van Dyke. So we'll see. I'm not sure he's a run and shoot quarterback. When he had a big year at Miami a couple years ago, I don't think it was run and shoot. Anyway, so 32 defense, Western 19. Wisconsin's usually pretty good at home, laying 24. Western's not that bad. They're not a Z team. Stanford, TCU, TCU 7.5, 8.5, and 61 to Stanford. Both quarterbacks are returning, but Stanford's isn't very good. They were a Z team last year. TCU 27 defense, which I'm sure will get better, and Stanford was a 37 defense. Stanford stinks. Game of the weekend, Georgia, Clemson. Georgia 13.5, 48. Now we go to the 31st. So this is now 10, 17. This is 4 Saturdays away. So, Georgia, we know Beck's back. Clemson, they got their quarterback back. The game's in Atlanta, which I think helps Georgia. So both returning quarterbacks. Georgia was a disappointing defense, was giving up 16 a game. Clemson gave up 20. Georgia fired their defensive coordinator. Their defensive coordinator, Will Muschamp, who sucks. He was always at Texas for years. And he fucked up the Alabama game, and they fired him for that. He didn't blitz Milrose enough. Milrose shouldn't sit back there and light him up, not against Georgia. So they fired the coach. They want the more aggressive coach. They want the defense in the face of the quarterback before he gets to his spot, not this passive defense. So I'm glad he got rid of Muschamp. Hopefully the new guy is more Georgia. Let's blitz the hell out of him. So anyway, Georgia with the 16 defense, Clemson with the 20. Over under 48 here in Atlanta. This will be a big game. I don't see how Georgia is going to lose to Klubeck, the Clemson quarterback. Clemson's going down. This year, I mean, their team's just not as good. Virginia Tech 13-54 against Vanderbilt. Virginia Tech's got their quarterback back. Vandy's got a new transfer quarterback. Virginia Tech with the 24 defense. Vanderbilt with the 36 defense. Not too good. Iowa plays Illinois State. There you go. Iowa's laying 24.5 to somebody. And the over is still 42 against Illinois State. I love it. Maryland, 21, 47.5 to Connecticut. $21 and 47.5. Okay. Both quarterbacks are new. Maryland with the 23 defense. They never have a real good defense. They didn't do anything with Tagovailoa Jr., so the new quarterback, I don't know. And Connecticut with a 30 defense, weak defensive team, and a new quarterback. So, I don't really trust Maryland. They are at home where they play a little bit better, but we'll see. That's the wait and see team with the new quarterback. Pitt 23.5, 53.5 to Kent State. Both have new quarterbacks. Kent is like a Z team, gave up 35 a game, and Pitt gave up 27, which is surprising with Narduzzi, the Michigan State defensive coordinator. So surprising there. West Virginia and Penn State, good game. Penn State 10.5, 51.5. Both quarterbacks are very good in returning. Penn State had an 11 defense last year, which kind of some Michigan. Then again, the Big Ten was so bad, but against Michigan and Ohio State, they gave up a little more than 11. West Virginia had a 28 defense. playing, Big 12 football. This is a revenge game in West Virginia at home. So I look for West Virginia to play them very good. Florida, Miami. We got Miami 2.5, 54. Miami gets Cam Ward from Washington State, who's Florida, their quarterback's pretty good, the one they got from Wisconsin. Miami's defense is a 22, and Florida's a 27. Miami with the worst coach. Doesn't know to take a knee at the end of the game. Amazing. 54.5. I don't know why Miami's favored in this game. It makes no sense. UTSA 24 against Kennesaw State, who was a Division II team who's coming up to Division I, so we have no stats that make any sense because they're playing a bunch of Division II teams. So we ignore that. UTSA 24, 49.5, up from 22. UTSA with the 24 defense. New quarterback for both teams. Frank Harris, after his 10-year career, finally moves on. Didn't get drafted. I don't know what team he's on. But if I was the Giants or Minnesota, I might look at Frank Harris because he's a lot better than the crap they have. They could have had Hartman, who's a lot better than the crap they had. So you wonder what these GMs are doing with their heads so far up their asses. Really stupid GMs. It's amazing how bad the GMs are in the NFL. I mean, why is Minnesota using Darnell when they could have drafted Hartman or even gotten Hartman in free agent? That's your starter. And then you got Frank Harris, very good out of UTSA. So why do you want to stick with Daniel Jones and Darnell? It just doesn't make any sense. Just shows you how little they know. So I hate when they say, "Well, he's a GM. He knows his shit." I'm like, nah, really doesn't. It's just like the gold guys on YouTube. Well, he's a gold expert. No, he isn't. He's an idiot. Most of them are idiots. All right. So UTSA, I mean, they're 24 defense and a new quarterback. We'll have to watch them. Nebraska 27.5, 48. Where the hell are they? I know they're on here. Here they are. 27.5, 48. Hasn't moved. Both Nebraska, they both have UTEP's got a returning quarterback. Nebraska's got a new quarterback who's a freshman. Good luck with that. Nebraska with an 18 defense, UTEP with a 28 defense. And Nebraska with Matt Rule, he's a good defensive coach. So look for Nebraska to play a lot of low-scoring games this year, I believe. Eastern Michigan won 49 to UMass. Eastern's got a new transfer quarterback. UMass has the returner. UMass gave up 38 a game and Eastern 24. Eastern's a pretty good MAC team. Ohio State 50 and 58.5 to Akron. Akron's a Z team. Gave up 28 a game, which wasn't too bad for them. See, here's Ohio State giving up 11, but again, it's skewed because of the Big Ten. So Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan are not that strong defensively, but because they played nobody, the Big Ten was so bad last year. I mean, you had Iowa having an over-under at 32. That's how bad it was. So Ohio State's defense isn't that good, but against Akron, it should be. New transfers for both teams. Will Howard from Kansas State, outstanding. Chip Kelly, the offensive coordinator. Ohio State lost 3 straight to Michigan. They've given up 11 a game to Akron's 28. I am expecting a shutout here. I don't see Akron scoring, and I see Ohio State pouring it on, probably getting in the 70s here. Northwestern and Miami of Ohio. Northwestern 4-43. Miami's a pretty good MAC team. Returning quarterback Gabbert and a 16 defense. Northwestern with a new quarterback and a 24 defense. So again, their coach got fired before the season. The new coach came in, was one of the assistants, and he's still there. I don't know how good he is. It's not like they had a good year. I think it's a live dog with Miami of Ohio here. Syracuse against Ohio. The other Ohio. Not Ohio State, but Ohio. The MAC Ohio. Syracuse is laying 16, 6.5, 17, 17.5. Take your pick. And the over-under is 47.5. That's solid. Ohio gets a new quarterback, and Syracuse gets the Ohio State quarterback who sucks, McCord. Syracuse had a 24 defense in Ohio with a 15 defense. So, again, I think this spread's a little high. The Ohio State quarterback sucks, so I don't know why there's so much, but Ohio is pretty decent team. Indiana, 20.5, 50.5 to Florida International. Indiana got the James Madison coach, who's very good. They got a good quarterback, I think, from James Madison to transfer with. Florida International has got a returning quarterback. Florida International gave up 32 a game last year. Indy gave up 30. But James Madison, their coach, last year was an 18. So you're going to get a much better team. You're going to get a much better defense. So I look for Indiana to be much improved this year, running a James Madison scheme, which is much better than the Indiana scheme. Texas, 34.5, 35.5, 35 and 36 to Colorado State, over under 59. Where'd they go? Oh, there it is. Texas. So let's call Texas 35 and 59. Texas, Ewers is back. Colorado State, their quarterback's back. Colorado State had a 30 defense. Texas is 17, which is good in the Big 12. Over under 59. Texas laying 35. I don't know. We had Texas last year against Rice, and they didn't cover. Ewers, okay. This will be an interesting game. Colorado State with a 30 defense. Texas should pound them, but we'll see. Good game here. Boise State, Georgia Southern. Boise, 11.5, up from 10.5, and 57.5 over under. Boise gets the transfer, is the freshman from USC, is going to be the Boise quarterback, and Georgia Southern has a new quarterback who's a freshman. Boise gave up 25 a game last year. Georgia Southern 30. Boise's has good running, a lot of good running backs, and the quarterback is probably like a Jalen Hurts type from USC. So the only problem is the Vegas quarterback went to USC. He's going to be the starter, so this guy had to transfer. He couldn't beat him out, and that's the problem. So he's one of these Jalen Hurts types, Kyler Murray types. But the Vegas quarterback was very good. So look for USC to score a lot with the Vegas quarterback. I'm kind of disappointed he left Vegas because that was a great bet. You could bet Vegas and get a good line on him. Anyways, look for Boise to be a good running team. I'm not sure their defense. South Carolina and Old Dominion. South Carolina 20-56 against Old D. They both had 26 defenses. Old D's, their quarterback's back, and South Carolina lost. Rattler has a new quarterback. Not sold on South Carolina. With Rattler, they didn't do anything. I don't know what they're thinking. Just incredibly stupid GMs, right? Well, anybody that drafted J.J. McCarthy at all has got their head up their ass. So both teams with 26 defenses. I'm not sure. I think Old D can hang in there with them. They're a pretty good team. North Texas against South Alabama. South Alabama laying 7-65 to North Texas. South Alabama, pretty good team, scored a lot. Their defense gave up 22. North Texas was a very high-scoring team with no defense. Defense gave up 37. North Texas gets a new quarterback. He's a transfer, and South Alabama has a returning quarterback who was a freshman last year who did play. So it's confusing that he'd be a freshman, but I guess he redshirted, maybe only played in a few games. So South Alabama, I think, will be a little bit less. I think they got a new coach. We'll have to check that out. Houston, 2.5, 56.5. Down from 3. Against UNLV, Houston picks up Willie Fritz as their coach. Look for Houston to be a live dog this year. Most people won't pick up on it. The line won't be adjusted for him. He's an outstanding coach. He was Tulane's coach, and they were undefeated last year. So it's a shame he had to leave Tulane, but Houston, we'll see. So Houston will get much better. That's why we look at the coaches. Vegas gave up 27 a game, and Houston gave up 31. Well, that'll change. Vegas, their quarterback goes to USC, so they got a new quarterback. Houston has the returning quarterback who isn't very good. Now, Vegas has a good coach, so I don't know how much they'll slip, but they're more of an over team because they gave up 27 a game, but they could score. So let's take a look at Vegas. But Houston's going to be a very live dog for us this year. Troy in Nevada. Troy's laying 15.5, 47. And terrible coach. The Notre Dame offensive coordinator sucked last year. He had Hartman. He didn't know what to do with him. He ran Escaline all the time. So Escaline, the Notre Dame running back, he's at Denver with Bo Nix. Look for them to be really strong. And but the coach was terrible, goes to Troy. Look for Troy to suck this year. Troy's laying, 16-46 to Nevada. Now, Nevada has a returning quarterback. We'll find them out when they play SMU the first week at home. We'll see how good or bad they are. But SMU is a very strong defense. So if Nevada lights them up, then we'll know. We'll bet Nevada. But Troy, I don't think will have a good offense. They have a good defense last year, but this is a different coach. So again, let's see how good this coach is. But he didn't show me anything at Notre Dame. Nevada is kind of weak, so we'll see. So Alabama, 31-59.5 to Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky is a very good team, but we will see. New transfer quarterback for Western Kentucky who's really good. Alabama has Milrose again. Western Kentucky with the 28 defense. I don't know what Alabama. They had an 18, but Nick Saban's not there, and 40 of the defensive players took off. Some got drafted, and most transferred out. So Alabama has DeBoer, probably bought. I don't know. He didn't. Penix graduated. Oduzzi graduated. The receiver they all got drafted. So I don't know, except for Milrose. So, he's a good coach. I think Alabama is going to score a lot more than they did, which is hard to believe, but they won't have the defense. He had a 23 defense with Washington. So let's go with that. 23 defense with a 40 offense, and I think you'll get that. Milrose is nowhere near Penix. Penix is laying the ball right in the breadbasket 35, 40 yards downfield. Milrose can't do that. So we will see, but Milrose will get better because with DeBoer coaching him. Like Penix, he wasn't that good at Indiana. He had gotten injured, and then 2 years ago he started to get better at Washington, and last year was outstanding. Steal of the draft for Atlanta to get Penix. Shows you how much the Bears know. You could have had Penix. You could have had a really good quarterback, and Penix said you got a piece of shit with Caleb. So, another big mistake by the GM and the coach drafting Caleb. So look for Alabama to score a lot, but we'll have to check their defense. And Western Kentucky can score, so we'll see what's going on. I think 31 is very high. Although I do think Alabama scores a lot, but I don't know what their defense is going to do. Rice and Sam Houston. Rice laying 11.5, 48.5 to the Sam Houstoners. Both had 26 defenses. Rice has a new transfer quarterback. Sam Houston, a new quarterback. Sam Houston was very inept at scoring last year. Couldn't score at all. Rice was decent, but the quarterback got hurt and he had to retire. So let's see what's going on with these teams this year. Michigan, 21-48 to Fresno State. Fresno State's got Mikey Keene, very good quarterback from UCF, transferred there. Got one more year, I guess. So he's returning. Michigan, new coach, new quarterback, new running back, new line, new defensive coordinator. Yeah, good luck. I don't like their coach. I don't like their quarterback. Orgy's just kind of a running quarterback, right? He's a Jalen Hurts type. I don't know if he can even throw the ball. So they're just going to run the ball a lot. Fresno State's got an outstanding coach, and Mikey Keene's a very good quarterback. Michigan cheats with their six-man lines, so you got to find the opening there. I think their crossing routes would get them open. Just quick little get the back out of the backfield over the line, I think would kill them. But they didn't face a good defense to do that. Alabama did a little of that where they ran the ball a lot at them. Fresno State doesn't have the running, but they do have the quarterback and the coach. So Michigan had a 10 defense and Fresno State a 25. But again, Michigan's defense was a gimmick, and now they got a new coordinator. The Wink Martindale, from game show host to defensive coach. I don't know if Fresno State can win the game, but I don't know if Michigan is going to beat them by 35 points. I find that extremely hard to believe. Oregon, 44 over Idaho, Division II game. All right, next big game, we got Notre Dame A&M. We got one Notre Dame -1, and we got one A&M -1.5, and two pick'ems. So I'm just going to call A&M -1 and over under 49. Riley Leonard takes over for Hartman at Notre Dame, a new transfer. A&M keeps their quarterback, Wegman, who was pretty good. Notre Dame had a 17 defense last year, and A&M a 21 defense. This should be a good defensive game. Notre Dame will bring it. Riley Leonard, he had 3 touchdowns and 3 picks last year. He runs a lot. But Notre Dame, you got running backs. You got receivers who are never going to get the ball. And A&M should be very good this year. So this should be a very good game, I think. UCLA in Hawaii. Now, UCLA lost their coach, Chip Kelly, to be the Ohio State offensive coordinator, which means he'll be the head coach at Ohio State if they lose again to Michigan. They lose 4 in a row to Michigan. Coach is gone. Todd Day. So UCLA 13.5, 55.5 to Hawaii. Hawaii's both quarterbacks are back. Hawaii with the 32 defense, UCLA with an 18, but their coordinator went to USC. But now here's the kicker with UCLA. So you're going, oh shit, they're going to be not as good. They will still be as good. The coach was the running back coach, so he'll run the same system. And the defensive line coach takes over as the defensive coordinator. So they'll be running the same schemes as they ran last year. Now, how much did UCLA lose? They had the twins at defensive tackle, I believe, great linebacker. So how much did they lose? Offensively, they should be very similar. Hawaii will throw the ball all around with the Timmy Chung, the coach who just was the quarterback there. And so they're getting a little bit better offensively. Their defense still sucks. So 32 defense. So UCLA should have a field day on offense. The question will be how good their defense can get there. And for that, you need to blitz them a lot. So we'll see what happens. But both quarterbacks are returning. So I'm hoping UCLA didn't lose too much from last year. And I hope they beat USC again. Kentucky, 25.5, 50.5. There it is, 20.5. Against Southern Miss. Southern Miss is a Z team. A new transfer quarterback for Southern Miss, a new quarterback for Kentucky. Kentucky with the 25 defense. Southern Miss is a 36 defense. And that's not in the SEC. That's in like Sun Belt or whatever. So Southern Miss will be picking on a lot this year. Their only good player, Frank Gore Jr. Frank Gore's son was the running back as he's graduated. Look for him on the Niners, right? Kentucky with a pretty bad defense, 25. We'll see. I mean, it's Bobby Petrino's son is the coach. He's pretty good. Just love when they play Georgia and it gets shut out. Georgia Tech, Georgia Southern. Georgia Tech 20.5, 57.5. Again, King is back as the quarterback for Georgia Tech. He's a nice one. Georgia State with a new transfer quarterback. Both teams gave up 30 a game. I'm sure Georgia Tech will get that under 30, but I don't know about Georgia State. Now we'll see what Georgia Tech does against Florida State's defense. They have a very good coach, Georgia Tech, so I expect them to score a little on that, and then to keep Buglia down and get a few picks off of him. Georgia Tech could win that first game because they are at home, but we'll learn a lot from them, and then they should kill Georgia State, especially if they play Florida State close. Right? Let's say it's 21-20. Then they get Georgia State. They're going to kill Georgia State because Georgia State's got a 30 defense. And Georgia State won't be able to take advantage of Georgia Tech's weaker defense. But King and this coach on Georgia Tech's very offensive minded. They'll rip Georgia State a new ass. Charlotte against James Madison. James Madison, 8.5, 51.5. But I put up a big stop sign because the coach is gone. He's at Indiana. So they got a new coach. They have a new quarterback. He transferred from Washington. He was a backup to Penix. Charlotte gets a new quarterback. James Madison with an 18 defense. Again, new coach. Charlotte gave up 28 a game. Charlotte was pretty sucks. So we got to see James Madison with the new coach and this new quarterback from Washington. Will probably be pretty decent. It's funny how he goes to Washington, can't play because of Penix, and then transfers to James Madison of all teams. You think Florida State would have got him. All right. Yeah, it worries me Florida State got Buglia. Well, what are you watching? The guy sucks. Anyway, he'll probably run a lot more there because they don't want him to throw. Arizona State 6.5, 46.5 to Wyoming. New quarterback for Wyoming, a transfer quarterback from Arizona State who's a freshman. They're going to kind of be weak again. They were terrible last year. Wyoming gave up 23 a game. Arizona State gave up 32 a game. But in the Pac-10, it makes sense with USC and Colorado and Oregon and Washington and down and down and down. So I'm not sure about Arizona State. They're at home. Wyoming's much better at home, but we'll see in the desert. Arizona 30 and 54.5 to New Mexico. Arizona, Mafati, the great quarterback, and the receivers back. The coach ran to Washington State, but Fajita went and stayed with Arizona. Outstanding quarterback. New Mexico gets a new one. They're pretty lousy. They give up 35 a game, and Arizona gives up 20. Again, they get a new defensive coordinator and a new coach. Well, hopefully he won't change the offense, but Fajita's very strong. So they got a great quarterback. 20 defense. But again, this is the problem when the coach moves, right? Oregon State, the coach moves. Washington, the coach moves. Arizona, the coach moves. So Washington will be okay. They get Arizona's coach, who was very good. But what does Arizona get? So that's why you got to watch a couple of games to see. Because, Jordan Love had a great junior year. And I said he should go pro. And then another coach comes in and he sucked his senior year because the new coach fucked him up. The new coach fucked Van Dyke up. So you got to be careful. Look at Hartman was great at Wake Forest, beating Clemson and all these good teams. And then he goes to Notre Dame and he gets fucked by the coach. He doesn't even get drafted. Is a joke because they're looking at him at Notre Dame, but they didn't know how to use him. So he's much better than that. The Bobby Bow game. I don't know what to do here. I got Caesar Sportsbook, LSU -6, and DraftKings, USC -6. Really? I can get LSU in 12 at DraftKings? Yeah, I probably have to do that. So I'm not sure which way to go with this. I assume it's LSU -6. Over under definitely 62.5. So Daniel's gone. So new quarterback for LSU. And USC, the great Caleb, has gone. I'm surprised Prime Jr. didn't go there. And Prime could have been like the defensive coordinator or cornerback. You could have played quarterback for him. Games in Vegas. LSU with a 28 defense last year. USC with a 35 defense. So USC gets UCLA's defensive coordinator who gave up 18, but he had three pros on the team. What has he got? USC had no pros on the team. UCLA's defense sucked. So it's the player, not the coach. The coach, if he has good players, Phil Jackson goes to Chicago. He's got Michael Jordan. Chances are he's going to win. But Doug Collins had Michael Jordan and didn't win shit. He couldn't beat the Pistons. So Phil Jackson comes in with Jordan, and then he goes to LA with Shaq and Kobe. Let's see Phil Jackson with in today's NBA with Joe Blow and James Harden and those guys. He probably doesn't even make the playoffs. So how strong is UCLA's defensive coordinator without 3 stars on the defense? We're going to find out because USC. I don't see the first game where UCLA is going to be or USC is going to be, now we're a 15 defense. This game, 62, should be over by halftime, I think. And our last game is Florida State, 21.5, 51.5 against BC. Again, Florida State, 16 with Uglia Buglia. Boston College is a 30 defense, and with their quarterback coming back who sucked last year. So what do? You got a sucky quarterback who's returned against Uglia Buglia, who's even worse. Again, I think Florida State, we'll have to see how they're probably going to run Uglia Buglia, would be my guess. So you got to see what they do against Georgia Tech. I think they're going to have trouble against Georgia Tech. They probably still have a great defense, but I love Florida State's coach. And maybe he's got plans for Uglia Buglia to run. And maybe there's a good freshman. I'm sure he got a 5-star freshman who will probably come in and throw. Ugly Boogly, it's 3rd and 10. Why don't you go on the bench and we'll bring in the freshman who can at least throw to the right team. So Ugly Boogly is terrible as a throwing pocket quarterback. Supposed to be interesting. Florida State. I mean, it's hard to lay a lot of points with Ugly Boogly until we see what they're going to do. But BC with the 30 defense, Florida State probably wins the game 24-0 or something like that. Look for the defense to rise up, and like they did when the guy went down. I can't think of his name. Jordan Travis. When he went down, they won the ACC championship game like 16-0, and that was it. They didn't get into the playoff. The 3 teams that should have made it that didn't, Florida State, Georgia, and Oregon, are going to be so pissed this year. Game of the year, Ohio State at Oregon. Outstanding game. Georgia gets Alabama in a revenge game. Look for Georgia to kick their ass. DeBoer is very good, but I don't know what kind of defense he has. And Georgia switched defensive coordinators again. Look for them to put pressure on Milrose. Right. He saw what, he if I'm Georgia, I'm going to the Michigan-Washington tape to see how Michigan defended them. And then that's what I'm going to do for Georgia. So look for Georgia to play a Michigan defense there. But that's a good game. There's no way Michigan will be in the playoffs. They got lucky last year. They had the easiest schedule in the world. They played nobody in the regular season. They should have lost to Alabama, but Milrose fumbles at the 50th, motherfucker. And then they beat Washington because the running back's not playing. And a lot of bad penalties by the refs. So that was the only team they played. It was any good was Washington, but again, they had injuries. So I've never seen a regular season by Michigan last year. They didn't play any good teams. Even Ohio State sucked. McCord was terrible. So I love Michigan's got Fresno State, then Texas and USC in September. They got Ohio State. They got Oregon. And the Michigan State game with a much better coach. That's going to be a game. And they're not that good. Their coach sucks. They have no quarterback. They got a new line. They got 1 running back. So what are they going to do? Just try to run? Well, okay, we've been there. We've seen it against these better teams. They're not going to run on Texas. They'll run on USC. They're not going to run on Ohio State. And they're not going to run on, Texas. Who's the other team? Oregon. Not going to run on Oregon. Oregon's going to kill them. Oregon's going to light them up, and their defense is just going to, this is revenge for Oregon. It's not a revenge game, but it's we should have been in the playoff, and we'll show you what we would have done to you. But, Harbaugh is an okay coach. He's not great, but this coach, he's never coached before, right? He was crying because they beat Penn State. Like, really? Okay, this is ridiculous. So we'll be betting hard against Michigan this year. Right from the start. Fresno State, Texas, USC. So this will be interesting. So that's college football week 1A and 1B. 2 games on the 24th. Florida State at Georgia Tech, SMU at Nevada. And then the 29th, which is a Thursday. Friday night, you got Michigan State, you got Oklahoma, you got Wisconsin, you got TCU. And then the 31st, it starts, you got Georgia, you got Notre Dame A&M, you got LSU USC, and we got UCLA Hawaii, Alabama Western Kentucky. We've got Penn State West Virginia, Ohio State by 100 over Akron, Georgia Clemson. So there's a lot of good games. Miami of Florida at Florida for the first week. So that'll be good. Learn your variables. Take your time. Don't rush a game. You've got the new coaches. So DeBoer at Washington goes to Alabama. Nick Saban's gone. There goes their defense. DeBoer didn't have a great defense at Washington. So understand they're going to score a ton of points because that's what he does. And he did it with Penix. So this is like Brady and Belichick. Was it Brady or Belichick that won? And we see it was Brady. Now it's DeBoer and Penix, and we'll see, what it was. I think it was DeBoer here, not Penix, but we will see. Steal of the draft, Penix going to Atlanta. He's so much better than Kirk Cousins. It's really not even close. Bo Nix at Denver will be very good. I don't know why he slipped. I don't know why Drake May went 3. I don't know why J.J. McCarthy was drafted and Hartman wasn't. And I don't know why Caleb was drafted 1. That's like drafting Primetime Junior, Sanders' son, as your number 1 quarterback. Really? Okay. He scored 6 points on Oregon, by the way. Let's not forget that. So, and then Caleb doesn't even play in the preseason. What's up with that? He should have played at least the first quarter yesterday. This is the pro football. Yeah, you're playing the 4th string, so let's see how you are. God, if anybody needs reps, it's him. He's going from a Lincoln Riley run and gun offense to who the fuck knows what the Bears are going to run. The guy needs practice in a game, not, well, let's rest him. He might get hurt. I don't get this attitude in the NFL. He might get hurt. What do you think is going to happen in the first game? He's going to be so unprepared because he's not going to see this speed for 4 quarters. He has no timing with his receivers because you can't look at practice because in the game they're chucking the receivers and they're all over the receivers and they'll make it think he's open when he's not. And they're going to blitz the hell out of you and you can't handle the blitz. So this bullshit of, we don't want to get him hurt is the stupidest excuse. I heard yesterday that I think soon they'll get rid of the exhibition games because the fans don't want to pay for them because you got to pay full ticket. And the players don't want to, or they don't play the players. The idea was you get your players ready, you get the timing down, you get them that they can play 4 quarters. And the coaches, in their inevitably incredibly stupid ways, aren't doing that. So they pay the penalty. But it's funny how, actually, who won the Super Bowl the last 2 years? Oh, yeah. Kansas City. Well, guess what they do? Mahomes and Kelsey play in the preseason. And they won 2 Super Bowls. They got their timing down. I mean, how do you not get your timing down and think practice will do it? And then in game 1, it takes you 2 or 3 games and all the injuries because guys can't just play 4 quarters after not playing, just practicing. Practicing is soft. And are they even in full pads? Probably in shorts and probably 2-hand touch because nobody wants to get hurt. I've never understood this. Well, he might get hurt. Well, go fucking play flag football or go play tennis. This is such a ridiculous. Why are we so worried about getting players hurt? The kickoff rule. What the fuck is that? Why are you changing it? What's wrong with it? Why did you change the extra point from the 2-yard line to the 15 or whatever? What are you doing? Why are you changing? Don't change. It's a perfect sport, and then now you're fucking it up. This kickoff sounds incredibly stupid, and as soon as you start bringing in it's for safety, really just makes me want to turn it off. So thank God college is staying with their normal game. But the only rule I kind of like is targeting. If you hit them with the head, but even that I don't like, because a lot of times they duck and they try to hit them, and then they hit them with the crown of the helmet, but it's not. It should just be an intent rule. Did he really try to hurt him? And if he did, that's another thing. But if he didn't, then don't even call the penalty. Anyway. So what else? Understand your quarterbacks. You want to read the box scores, and then you want to go to the Yahoo college football stats. Click on quarterbacks for the year and look at them and see, and just sort it by touchdowns. We don't care about the rating. We care about how productive they are. So all of a sudden, this guy has 15 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. You never heard of him. You heard of him now, and that's what you're looking for to start betting that team. They got a good quarterback. And then you're seeing these other transfers going, well, how good's the Michigan State guy from Oregon State? How good's Ugly Booglia's backup? We know how Kings is, and Riley Leonard he had 3 touchdowns and 3 picks in like 10 games last year. I thought he was a good quarterback, but he more is a running quarterback. We know how well they do. And then you're just keeping an eye on the new coaches. Indiana gets the James Madison guy. How's James Madison? How's the guy from Notre Dame at Troy? Probably shitty. How's USC? Well, that you don't have to see. You'll see that against LSU as LSU runs up and down the field on them. I find that the GMs in the NFL are clueless. They'll load up on Alabama players, and none of them do anything in the pros. The Lions keep drafting Alabama players for some reason. Like, no, they're not good. The running back's okay. The receiver sucks. And then they got a cornerback who we saw how good the Lions defense was last year. But 4 receivers got 200-plus yards and 15 catches in the games. Yeah. Alabama does not have secondary help, and they drafted another guy from Alabama. The running back's nothing. So he fumbled in the big game, just like he was at Alabama. And the receiver always drops the passes. He's fast. Reminds me of Earl McCullough, played on the Lions in the 70s. He was real fast, but he couldn't catch the ball. And that's what this guy is. He's fast. He's always getting hurt. He's always dropping passes. Once in a while, he catches the ball. He gets a touchdown, but it's 1 in 10. So, he's no Jefferson or Chase, and that's what I mean. If I'm drafting a guy number 1 and I'm trading up for him, he better be Jefferson and Chase. So, anyway, that's what you're looking for. Ollie Gordon, Oak State running back, is the best running back. I bet on them just because they can't tackle him. He's like Jim Brown. He runs through the line, gets a little tackle, shakes it off, and then runs. And you think they're going to catch him, and nobody catches him. Once he breaks the line, he's gone. This guy's the best running back. I think Oak State's a live dog, except for maybe Utah. But everything else in the Big 12, I like Oak State. Look for TCU to be much better. They had a lot of graduation after winning the title. The quarterback, Max Duggan, went. Funny how he didn't get drafted. And then, I don't know, you win the title, you beat Michigan, but you put up 50 points and nobody drafts you. And then you're watching Daniel Jones against Darnold, and you're like, What happened to the TCU quarterback? Just amazing. So hard to understand the metrics of what these NFL GMs are looking for, and they're going to more of these. Why is Trey Lance on Dallas? Why is Dak Prescott even playing? I mean, he stinks. Daniel Jones, what the fuck is he doing? Why does it take so long to realize he sucks? I don't understand that. He's not good. I don't know. I don't understand. How long does it take for you to realize he's not good? Oh, we signed him to a big contract. Well, cancel the contract. So anyway, coaching's big, very big thing to do. Getting a good quarterback and understanding if he's a good or bad quarterback, and then loading up your defense and having a good running back, which seems to be totally lost in the NFL. The good running backs, except for Kansas City and San Francisco, figure out, hey, I need a good running back. So the Niners are great with McCaffrey and KC with Pacheco. The Rams have a good running back now. And, I'm trying to think who else. That's about it. I mean, Seattle has some good running backs, but this is the problem when you don't have good running backs. I mean, the Bears don't. Vikings, they used to. The Lions don't have anybody. I don't trust this Alabama guy. He fumbled in the playoff game. Goodbye. That's when you've got to play. See, this is when the difference between these talk show hosts and reality. When they say how good he is against Atlanta and Carolina, but in the playoff game, he didn't show up and he fumbled, cost him the game. But no, he's great. No, he's not great. He fumbled in the playoff game. So anyway, so that's college football. Tomorrow we'll go through the pros again, but that's still a month away till Labor Day. What else? So we'll get ready for college. So again, my class, to get the pick, like today, you notice I didn't give you any picks. That's intentional. The picks you're gonna go to class. So it's gonna look like this. Why does it keep doing that? So here's Teaserking. There's my homepage. You can get my email. I explain what a teaser bet is, but you guys know. And then purchase picks, and then you get this week's football picks. So if you're not going to class and you buy it like normal, you purchase the pick, and then you get a password, and then you go to this week's football picks, and you get the picks. So let's go into purchase picks. So you get 4 columns. You get the lock column, and then you get pro, college, or both. So for 1 week, it'd be 75 pro, 75 college, or 100 for both. Or you can buy the month at 200, 203, or you can buy the year $599, $599, and $750. Or now we've got added the class. So college picks, you come here, private class, $25 for the week. So I'm giving you a deal instead of 75. Pro picks, same thing. YouTube class, 25. So you click on that. You don't need a password because we're going to do it live. And this is a public class. And what I'll do is say private, and I'll enter your emails. And so only the people who have bought will have the email, can watch the class. And that's when I'll do like I do with baseball. Where in baseball, I give you the picks like I did today. The Yankees talk about the game, the pitcher, and I give you the pick. That's what I'll do in college, and I'll give you the pick and pro. So I'll talk about the games, tell you the games I'm picking, tell you the games I'm not picking, and then say, this is my lock, boo, boo, boo. And it's so many units. And then, so we'll go through every game and we'll go through the same picks that are on the purchase pick. The difference is you'll click, and then when you go purchase pick, you get a password. And the password is what gets you into here's your picks for the week. And they go across. So it's like Detroit, here's the line, here's the teaser line. Chicago, here's the line, here's the teaser line. And this is how many units that I'm betting, 11 units and a couple $100. And everybody's different. Everybody's units are whatever your bankroll is. So if your bankroll is $1,000, you may be betting $25 a unit. But if I give you a lock, so you maybe go 11 units, I'm going to bet $25 on those games. But if I give you a lock and it's like a 20-star lock, I really love the game. I have very high confidence in it. And then I'd want you to probably bet 75 on it. And because we want to take advantage of those. Now, the other thing that I do is I put teams in multiple games. So let's say the lock is, Green Bay. I'll put Green Bay with Detroit. That's a lock. But then I'll put Green Bay with Chicago. And that's maybe not a lock, but it shows you how much I like Green Bay. And I'll put them in a few. So I'll go through that. And then let's say, I want to play a 5-team teaser. And I'll go, okay, here's the 5 teams to tease. I'll do all that in the class. You don't get it on the purchase picks, but you get all the picks. Because you're getting a lot of picks, that's why it's a little bit more expensive. And then I'm picking 70% games that you're making money. Last year was very successful. I've always been very successful because I figure out the team. Once I figure out the team, then we start betting it bigger and bigger and bigger, and we win with it. So that's why we get stronger as the year goes on. Then we catch, Kansas, that's our team. Kansas State, how is USC doing and UCLA doing? Maybe we see that and start betting them. We saw Colorado. They're not very good. Pretty decent offense, but then as everybody sees them, they just blitz, and the guy had 57 sacks last year. So that's the idea. So if you come to class, we can talk and you can chat with me and you can say, I want a 5-team teaser. And okay, here you go. Here's the 5 teams. Here's my best 5 teams in the teaser. Where on the pick, you'll see 2 locks and the purchase picks. And then you can play a 4-team teaser with the 2 locks, and I'll put pro locks too. And we just walk through it. So it's all matchup. It's just like I do baseball. It's the same theory. When you get a good pitcher against a weak one, and I bet more on it, like I did with Kansas City 2 nights ago. Kansas City was where's that? On 8-1, Kansas City had Seth Lugo going against the Tigers. It was a 7-unit when they won like 11-2. So 7 units, I like it a lot better. So when I get the qualifications, that's when I'm locking the game. Maybe it's, let's say it's LSU off of a loss and they're playing Kentucky. They're going to kill them. So then so it's teams off of a loss. It's revenge games. Alabama, Georgia, I'll be all over Georgia because it's a revenge game. And so I will probably play that. And then if we get the right line, so the line makes a big thing too. If we get a good line, then we will bet it much stronger versus a weak line. Like in baseball, I like the game. I want to go over, but the over under is 9 or 9.5. So I don't like it as much if it's a 7. The same thing with an under. If it's a 9 and I want under versus a 7. So that matters. So the variables in baseball, you're looking at ERAs and a little bit of batting average, but it doesn't matter the batting average. It really matters. Even the ERA is kind of shaky because they've been pitching kind of poorly. And, so like yesterday I had School Bowl, but he gave up 8 runs with his 2 ERA. So it didn't really matter. Football is a lot different. It's once a week. We got Mahomes. We bet KC. We got Mahomes. And unless he gets injured in the game, we've got Mahomes. So we're betting Mahomes. In baseball, they take the pitcher out after maybe 5, 6, 7 innings, pitching a no-hitter, but he's pitched 95 pitches. Let's take him out. You're like, who's this idiot manager? Managers should not be taking their pitchers out if they're pitching well because of a fucking pitch count. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. So anyway, so we'll talk, and then you're going to say, you know what? I want to play a 5-team teaser. I can easily give you a 5-team teaser on here, but I give you all the games, and I will put teams in too. Let's say I like LSU, USC over. That might be in 2. That could be in 2 games. More than likely, it will be. So that's what you're looking. So I don't put 5-team teasers in my thing, but I might give you 4 teams that are locked plus pro teams that are locked, right? So if I lock San Francisco, Miami, and then I give you Alabama, Georgia, and Pitt, Penn State. So now you got 6 teams you can put in a 6-team teaser. So there, use your own gut instinct. I know you guys listen to other handicappers. Just be careful. Here, you can ask me about the game. What do you think about Oregon State? Because you heard ESPN talking about it. And I would be like, well, I don't like the game because I go through every game and in class. So you'll hear every game that I have. And I'm pretty good. I could probably pick every game, but I don't want to. I want to get the top. I want to get the cream, the top 5, the top 10 teams. That's what we want to bet on. Like baseball, I could give you a pick for every game, but I really want to give you the top plays. Let's go with Philadelphia and Baltimore and bet against Detroit and bet against the White Sox. They've lost 17 in a row. So that's really what we're trying to make money. So we want to be smart about it. And we want to be smart bankroll wise. So you tell me you got a $2,000 bankroll and say, maybe bet 50 a game. Because there's a lot of games. And as the season gets stronger, the games get stronger. And so I don't want you to lose all your money on early in the season betting a lot of money. I want you to the key is slowly make money. And then as it hits October, November, now your $25 bets are $100 or $200 on the locks. Now you're making some good money and you have money. Your bankroll went from $2,000 to $4,000 because we've been hitting and now we're really cooking. Now it's later in the year. We know exactly who we want to bet on. We get good line, Casey's, Cincinnati's a dog at Miami or something. Okay, we're going to lock that game. We're taking Joe Burrow. But you got to wait for the opportunity. Once you get that opportunity, then we're going to really pound it. So I want you to have money for those games. So that's why you're like, okay, you get some action, but be careful. And then that's what we're waiting. Those are the locks. Mahomes is the dog. I mean, we had them against Buffalo, Baltimore, and the Niners. We won all 3 easily, right? But that's what you want to do is for your locks is have those. That's what we're waiting for, right? And they don't come every week. Those are the pocket aces I talk about. You want to bet them. You want to wait for them and bet them and have money to bet them. So we start off a little slow. I mean, usually I can find a lock week 1, one of these teams laying 25 points or 30 points. Maybe it's Ohio State, maybe it's Oregon, maybe it's Texas, and they're playing a real weak team. I remember years ago, this is how old it is. Stanford was playing somebody, and Andrew Luck was on Stanford. They played some Bryce or something. And the spread was 20. And I tell my friend, I said, Stanford's going to win by 50. And he's laughing, oh, sure. And because they had Andrew Luck and the other team had a weak defense. And Stanford won 54-0. And it blew his mind. He says, how did you do that? Because I bet against weak defenses with good quarterbacks, and I happen to have the perfect scenario with Andrew Luck, who I know is going to put up a lot of points when he was healthy at Stanford, against some weak team like Rice, and they're laying 20-something points. So, they win 54-0. And you see it all the time. And in college, they'll score a lot. They'll just keep scoring and scoring and scoring. And the coaches, because the boosters want to see a 54-0 game. So that's why you can do it. I think Ohio State's going to do that this year with a few 50, 60-point wins. Chip Kelly's going to want to prove it. Will Howard's an excellent quarterback, much better than McCord. So we'll see what happens with that. But that's what you need. So we're watching. All of a sudden, I discovered Kansas. Right? They started not week one. They put up 50, 60 points. And then week two, then week three, they played Duke and they were getting points. And I bet it, and they put up 35-40 on Duke. And now I'm like, I think I bet them over every week, but against Iowa State. And they played Oklahoma 44-43, and the over-under is like 50. So that's what you're excuse me. That's what you're catching, is understanding the concept. Good quarterback, good coach. They score a lot. Kansas's coach is still there. Good offensive mind. But they don't have much of a defense. They're getting better, but they don't have much of a defense. So it's always an over game, especially in the Big 12, Oklahoma, Texas, Baylor, Texas Tech, Kansas State, so all the teams are scoring teams. So that's what you're looking at. You're looking at but you don't know it right now. I don't know who the Kansas is going to be. That's why you look at the box score and the scores, and then so I got my whole spreadsheet set up that I download the stats and I do a VLOOKUP and I say, give me the scores, give me the average score of each team. And then this team's scoring 45 a game, giving up 7. Tennessee or somebody. And then that's how I spot it, but I know to look for it. So you get all that skill on a video, it's a live class, and you'll learn and you ask questions. See, here you can ask questions. How many handicappers you ask them questions? Yeah, you're giving me Mississippi State, and you bet it and you lose, and you go, what the fuck? You can't even ask them, and you're just getting that. Like ESPN, you're watching ESPN, you got some idiot talking about it, or Bet MGM, you got some idiots talking about it, and you bet it because the idiot told you. Does he give you the reason? No. I get into pretty good reasons for that because I know what variables to look at. I don't look at time of possession or turnovers. Who the fuck knows? Because if I throw 2 pick sixes, I score a lot, but my time of possession's nothing. So what does that mean? You're looking for winners. You're trying to win the game, and that's what you want. You want a good quarterback and a good coach and a good defense, and you're going to get a lot of winners, and that's the key to it. But probably me and 2 other guys in the world have figured that out. So that's where we're at. So that's what you'll get. So I'll do a class, probably a short one on Wednesday for the Thursday pro game. Let's talk pro. So I'll do a Wednesday class quickly for the pro. I'll probably do a Friday class, which should go longer, getting ready for Sunday, and then a Sunday morning class like now okay, here's the injuries, here's the line movements, here's what we're betting. But Friday, basically the bets will be done Friday, but Wednesday for the Thursday game. And in college, we'll do probably a Friday game, a Friday show, walk through every game like I did today. And then Saturday morning, we'll go through line changes. Is Cam Rising playing? And then we'll go through that. But Friday will be the big, here's the picks for the week, most likely. And then like Saturday and Sunday morning, like I've been doing. And so we'll just go through and then you go with questions going, hey, I like Ole Miss. I'll look at it and go, well, I don't know. I don't like it that much. You're obviously getting it from ESPN. So, if you're compelled to bet it, but again, their objective is to get you to bet because it's done by DraftKings and, BetMGM. They want the action. That's why all this bullshit comes in. Oh, how many yards is Jerry Rice going to get today? And you go through all this bullshit. Baseball, how many hits is somebody going to get? Who the fuck knows? I mean, good luck with that. But I mean, football, it's how many how many touchdowns is this? I would just bet against Caleb everything he does, or Lamar touchdown passes. But the key, you're going to look at is the defense. Is Lamar playing an easy defense or like Miami, or is he playing a tough defense like Pittsburgh? And that's what you do. And if the quarterback's playing a tough defense, they're gonna be struggling that day. So that's really the key: is who am I playing against? Can I move the ball? That's what you're looking at. That's why you need a running back. I get into the red zone, I got to run the ball in. There's no room to throw the ball. Oh, I could throw it at the flag and throw it at the cone at the 1 yard line at the end zone there. Good luck with that. I mean, that works 1 in 20. So yeah, I probably aren't going to get a lot of touchdowns unless they're from the 30 and in, because I'm too stupid to have a running back. I don't know who's controlling these coaches and GMs, but they're a bunch of fucking idiots. The Lion Code. Oh, let's go for fourth down. It's against the 49ers. You're never going to make a fourth down against them. Just like Baltimore, Dallas, Kansas City. You're never going to make 4th and 2s against them. So why do you even try? And that's the analytics is not based by team, but in general. So generally, 52% of the time they make it. Yeah, but not against these teams. And if you miss, you lose the fucking game. The Lions should have been in the Super Bowl. If I'm coaching the Lions, they're in the Super Bowl because they're up 24-7, and we're going to kick the field goals, and we're going to run the time. And we would have went up 27-10, and then I wouldn't have the rookie in the game, and they're fumbling that. And then at the end, when they kick a field goal to tie and he goes for it, we'd have kicked a field goal to tie. Only I'd have had a good kicker on the team, and I wouldn't have a guy who gets hit in the face mask and he can't catch the ball. It hits him in the face mask. What is that? Why is he on the field? Where's the Alabama? Or is he the Alabama guy? Probably. So that's what you're looking for. You're trying to understand the teams. In college, I got a whole big spreadsheet, and basically it's got the key stats that you want. Quarterback, he's 20 touchdowns and 3 picks. I'm going to bet that guy. Uglia Buglia, yeah, he's got 9 touchdowns and 15 picks. Probably going to stay away from him. But that's how you know who to bet on. You bet on guys and you bet against guys the same. You got a shit quarterback you bet against. I bet against the White Sox today because they've lost 17 in a row. So I don't care who's pitching. They're not going to win. And until they win, I keep betting against them. But you got to understand streaks and know that you stay on the streak. You don't bet against it. Again, red keeps hitting, well, why don't we bet black? And eventually it'll hit. I go, because I can win 10 more times betting red because red's coming up. So that's what you're looking at. But that's what you want to do is you want to get your strategy. You got to understand it, which you guys don't, because it's extremely difficult. But I'm capable of what's it called? Critical thinking. And because I've been doing this since the 1970s, I have seen it all, know it all. And I bet on Montana. I bet Jimmy Johnson on Miami of Florida, and Howard Snellenberger, Miami of Florida, and um, all these Lawrence Taylor. So you stumble on a guy like that. That's you bet on him. You bet on Montana. So now it's Mahomes and it's Burrow. We'll see about Frisco. The Rams are pretty good. We'll see about Jordan Love. I liked him in the junior and the senior. I didn't like him. I couldn't believe they drafted him, but okay, he looks like he's okay. They seem to have 10 receivers and running backs that are good. The coach seems to be good now after a few years we see it. So now we can feel pretty good about betting Green Bay. I would bet them to win the division over the Lions because the Lions don't have a defense. The Achilles heel is always the defense. That's why Dan Marino went to the Super Bowl once and one time only. And that's why Dan Fouts never went to the Super Bowl, because when they'd get into the playoffs against good teams, the defense would kill Marino and Fouts, but they didn't have a defense to stop the other team. Therefore, they never got back to the Super Bowl. And then they won. What did they play? They played the Niners with Montana and the killer defense, and Marino did nothing. They sacked them, they intercepted them, but they couldn't stop Montana because they didn't have a good defense. So it's as simple as that. You need the good defense. But you need to understand that's one of the keys that you're looking for. Anyway, so that's how you bet football. Basketball, I don't, it's too much. And I'm in the middle of football season, and I'm not going to sacrifice a good football pick for a bad basketball pick. And they're all fixed anyway, the basketball games. Baseball's every day is just crazy. You don't know how a team reacts. There's algorithms and biorhythms and all these things that you're not going to get the same performance every day. A once a week team game like football, hopefully it's Sunday to Sunday. I hate these Sunday to Thursday games, but you can focus. Okay, here's the Kansas City. Now here they come, next week, and they focus and they get ready. They get into their routine Friday, Saturday, okay, Sunday. It's Mahomes, it's Kelsey, it's Pacheco, and this killer defense with Spagnuolo. You know what you got every Sunday. Now, week one, we've got Baltimore at Kansas City. Somebody's going to lose, and that's the key. That's who you bet week two. Whoever loses is going to be pissed off, doesn't want to start 0-2, and will give you a very good game in week two. And so now we've got a little incentive. They don't want to go 0-2. They lost week one. And especially you got Baltimore and Kansas City. Now, if Baltimore then loses to Kansas City, for example, then they got Cincinnati. Well, no, I'm not betting them. I'm waiting until they play Detroit or some shit team, Atlanta, Carolina. Then I'm going to pound them. But not against if they have to play Cincinnati. And then they get Pittsburgh with Russell Wilson. Then they get Cleveland. Those aren't the teams you want to, okay, Baltimore has to win. You wait for that easy team, and then they'll kill them. So be careful. And if KC loses, and then they get Buffalo, and then they get Cincinnati, I'm not jumping on Kansas City's bandwagon until they play Atlanta, Carolina, Detroit, Chicago, one of those shit teams. So the fact everybody's thinking Detroit's going to the Super Bowl, they've lost their minds. They don't have the defense for it. They didn't fire the defensive coordinator. That's going to come back to haunt them. You can't win with offense. Dan Marino, Dan Fouts. I think it was Y.A. Tittle with the Giants. He never won the championship. You need defense and running. You got to run to rest your defense, and you need defense to stop the other team. So it's as simple as that. Anyway, a couple of if we change to that. I won't run the videos, but I'll show you what I was watching. So here, China faces vast unemployment, vast joblessness, strains China, funds gone, benefits recalled. So they keep showing China is this country with 60,000 tons of gold, but the economy is falling apart. People, it's said, people are making $150 a week and they can't afford a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of problems there. We have Japan bankrupt. Why is Japan heading into bankruptcy? Inflation, U.S. venture capitalists, total collapse in confidence, U.S. firms massively active, China. So we don't need to really watch the videos to get China's fake economic boom. So they were saying how good they're doing is all government stats. That's what communism does. They lie about their economy to say, look how good we are. Another case where communism slash socialism doesn't work. It never has and it never will, because the market can only work if it's free market and it's run by us, by the population. So we run the market by our choices. That's what Adam Smith says. I want to buy Canadian Club. I buy it over Doers. That runs the market. And then because I bought it, they know the price is good. That's why you can't have price fixing. And that's why the government can't possibly dictate prices and run the market. They don't know what people want. We don't know what we want. So that's why it doesn't work. There was this woke influencer was talking bad about Trump, but what she didn't know is everything she said was good for Trump. It was amazing. Oh, he's going to cut taxes. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. He wants oil. He wants this and that. It's like wants to get rid of culture and all the woke stuff. And it's like, yeah, that's great. That's not bad. It's not negative. It's good. So she didn't know what she was talking about. She actually made the point. Enough with this Trump shooting. It's such we get it. It was fixed by Larry Fink and George Soros. We get it. I showed you this bullion dealer who doesn't know what he's talking about. Yeah, gold will get to 2,500. Dude, it's at 2,500 now. It's at 2,450. Believe me, when brics, see, he doesn't understand brics. He doesn't understand brics going to a gold-backed currency in October. We're in August, September, October, in 2 months, it'll be 3,000. But he doesn't understand because he's thinking of what's been with COMEX price fixing it, which he doesn't even understand their paper prices. So he's sitting there, well, the paper price of gold will go to 2,500 and silver will never get to 100 in my lifetime because it's paper priced. Once we get to a physical free market price, it'll be $1,000. Well, it'll never get there. Yeah, well, it won't in a price fixed paper game by George Soros where the government's fixing the price. But if we get to the free market, which is what brics will do, it'll get there. Very bad. Mark McGuire yesterday. This guy, I don't know who he is just terrible. Why? I put a question like, why do you have a guest, and what is the point of this guy being the guest? He brought nothing to the table and was really stupid trying to mimic Mark McGuire, but not learning anything. Oh, well, they might go to Goldback in 5 years. No. In October, do you not listen to Mark McGuire? So again, this is what gets confusing. So anyway, I'm not going to play anything today, but that's what we have. So we have China and Japan being hurt. and India, and it's all the same thing. It's all inflation. Well, the government's printing money to save the economy. That won't do it. That will do the reverse, like Germany, 1923. They printed billions of dollars in 1920. And guess what? It didn't help because it made the dollars worthless. Nobody wants it. So what happens is as you print more and more, the value of the dollar goes down. Nobody wants the dollar. And again, as I've said, you only have a price, right? This only has a value if somebody wants it. So if nobody wants it, like the Barry Bonds card, right? So this had a good value, Barry Bonds, and it's 100 count. So it had a good value, but because he did steroids, nobody wants him now. So therefore, this card doesn't have much of a value because nobody wants Barry Bonds because of the steroids, even though he hit 8,000 home runs and, was one of the best players to ever play. It doesn't matter. Nobody, because he did steroids. But Mahomes will always have a value because he's Mahomes. But because the demand for Barry went down, then his price went down. So it goes to a lower price. And that's what happens with the dollars. As they print it, nobody wants it because they go to because it's an auction. So as they see other currencies with more value, they go there. So when they see a gold-backed currency, brics, they're all going to jump there. They'll leave the dollar and jump. And that's what the dollarization is. And the petrodollar's gone. And it's amazing how people will say, oh, the petrodollar, nah, that doesn't matter. And the U.S. dollar will always be the strongest. And what do you think all this de-dollarization and everybody joining the BRICS is? So they totally ignore that fact, and when you hear people talk really, really fast, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So bad scene with Mark McGuire. The show the week before will be better, or the one next week where he's getting into the thing. So I always go, why do you have guests? We don't want to hear the guest. I don't turn in this guy, whoever this other idiot was. I don't watch his pod or his videos. I don't want anything to do with the guy. I want to see Mark McGuire talk like you guys want to see me talk about economics and inflation and gold. If I had a guest on, you don't want to talk about it with him. You want to talk about it with me. And I get that. And that's the point. So that's really what you're trying to do is do it with them. So when he has guests on, you're not Joe Rogan. I mean, we probably don't want to hear the guest anyway, but certain topics we don't mind listening to. But Joe Rogan does. He's just a talk host. He's not really educated in anything. But when you come to me, I know you want to hear gold and economics and what's going on in China or BRICS or COMEX or whatever. So again, COMEX, we're waiting. It's still a little diluted. It's still paper derivatives going on, but we understand the derivatives. So when the price goes up and down, it's just derivatives. Nobody's selling gold. There's no consolidation. When you hear people say that, just roll your eyes and go, they're idiots. They don't know what they're talking about. And when you go buy the gold and silver, the price it's worth a lot more than the price. And eventually it gets there. BRICS should move it along very quickly. The gold price should jump because they're going to need a much higher gold price for the gold-backed currency when it goes. We hope it's October. Mark McGuire is saying that, so we assume October. We know the way the sanctions are coming down on China and Russia. They're like, fuck you, and they're ready to go. And if China's as broke as they are saying they are, then they're going to want to go to gold real quick. Russia wants to go to gold real quick because they're sanctioned. Okay, fuck you with your sanctions. We'll use gold. And I know Saudi Arabia, they all want to get paid for their oil in gold. They don't want to get paid in useless dollars. Why would Saudi Arabia want to get paid in US dollars? And then you say, well, no, they have a value. Nobody wants the treasuries. We're buying our own treasuries because nobody wants treasuries from the U.S. The auctions. No, we're printing our own money. We're buying our own debt. That's how banana republic, as Egon would say. So there's no demand for our debt, and therefore there's no demand for the dollar. So the dollar's pretty much worthless now because why aren't people buying the dollar? Because they don't trust it. There's too much inflation. And then you look at, wait, all the central banks are selling their dollars and buying gold because they know what's coming. So just kind of use logic and go, well, shit, if all the central banks in the world, but the US, are buying gold and getting out of dollars because they all know the dollar's ready to crash. So you got to be careful who you're listening to because one guy, oh no, it'll never crash. Economists have said that. Who, the Keynesians? Not the Austrians. We're saying the exact opposite. It's going to crash because you printed too much of it. The more you print, the less it's worth. It's worth 1 cent now. It's going to zero. And there's nothing that can stop it but gold. So either way, if the US went to a gold-backed currency, fine, gold price has to go up. And if they don't, the dollar's out and then gold. And then people are like, oh my God, we don't want $100 silver. Yes, we do, because we'll use the silver to get along. All they got to do is change the medium of exchange. So people don't understand it. You change the medium of exchange, which is what you get paid from your employer and what you use to pay your rent and your food and your meals and stuff like that. So all you know is you need to get rid of the dollar that's worthless for something with value, which is a gold-backed dollar. So when you do that, nothing changes, nothing happens. You still get paid, you still use it. Only the dollar that you're using for the medium of exchange is much safer. That's the key to it. So that's really what you're looking at, is that, but that people just don't get it because they don't get medium of exchange what it is. They don't get Say's law. They never heard of it. They don't know Adam Smith, the invisible hand, laissez-faire economics. They don't understand that. And that's really the keys. It's just like football. You need a good defense. Like, oh, Lamar, he's the MVP. No, he's not. Mahomes is. Mahomes wins Super Bowls. Lamar can't win playoff games. So it's the same correlation, right? You look at Mahomes, you look at the defense, can they run? And that's who you bet on. You look at the gold, you look at the dollar being printed to death, no gold backing it up, and you know it's going to go out. So all these countries with the euro and the yen and the yuan and all these countries, are going to zero, just like Venezuela, Argentina, Zimbabwe, Sri Lanka, Greece, Pakistan. Here comes Japan. They're bye-bye. China, bye-bye. But China will be okay because they'll go to a gold-backed currency with Russia. So that's what you need to know is the variable. So a lot of it is the variables. In poker, you're looking at variables. With girls, you're looking at variables. How do they act? How do they treat you? You go to dinner, are they looking for the most expensive thing and they're using you, or they're very, very respectful and, oh, you're getting a hamburger, I'll get a hamburger, stuff like that. How do they look at you? How do they talk to you? So you're using certain variables with the women, and you're using, mostly it's their, how do they treat you? If they treat you badly and they take you for granted, I want your money or buy me this, then you leave. But if they respect you and they're honest with you, then that's what you're looking for. So same thing in poker. You got your variables. Is the guy a bluffer? Is he not a bluffer? So it works with everything. And like I said, football and baseball, we're looking at that. And with economics, it's, you're printing your money to zero. You're printing a lot of money. It's worthless. There is no, because it's the reserve currency, or it's not the reserve currency. It's what's there. There's no other currency that's good. So it might be the best currency out of a bunch of crap currencies, but it's still a crap currency. So to call it reserve doesn't matter. You can't print 150 trillion of them and expect it to not lose its value. So you can see it's lost 99% of its value now. And, like I say, a Pepsi was 10 cents for a can, is now $2.50. How did it keep its value? That's a currency that's lost its value. And that's really what you are looking at. So it's just a matter of time. I don't know. There's a magic button. When did Zimbabwe's go where it went to nothing? When did Venezuela's go? But the problem is the government will print the money and the guy keeps the money. But you can't buy anything because the cost to make, you know, tuna fish, the cost of it goes so high that they can't charge that much. And then the dollar isn't worth anything. So you need $1 million to get a $5 can of tuna because the $1 million is worth $5 now. And your wages don't go up. Some guy's saying, well, the wages go up. No, they don't. Your wages they don't go up. Mine certainly haven't, a little bit, but I got a master's, so they go up a little. I mean, when I first started, it was 30,000, and now it's more, 90, 100,000. But so I had an email today on the job, or last night. I called my recruiter. She wasn't available, and she says she sends me an email. Like I read this morning. Oh, it's we'll talk to them about the results of the interview. So and I knew that it was Friday, that they wouldn't hear till Tuesday or Wednesday. Anyway, I'm sure they have other people to interview, so I'm hoping. I'm sure I'm very qualified for it, but we'll see. And then we go from there. So that's good news. The trust we're waiting on, that'll be October. We're waiting on gold to go up, which is the third leg, and then our football starts soon. So that's what we're looking at. But you have to be understanding enough to know that if you keep printing the money, it's worthless. Or if you keep eating cake, you're going to get fat. I see fat people all the time at the pool, and I used to go up to them and go, I can help you out, lose a lot of weight. Oh, I don't want your help. Okay, so you're diabetic and you probably got a year to live, but that's fine. I know that if you stop eating your sugars and carbs, your high fructose corn syrup, you'll lose a bunch of weight, get your blood pressure down, and live a lot longer and a lot healthier. But they don't want to listen. Who am I? That's the biggest thing I see, is they don't know me, so they don't want to listen to me. Even though I'm going to save them or make them a ton of money in gold, they don't want to listen. And so I stopped asking and I stopped telling. Oh, this is stupid. Okay, you're on your own. So people are not open-minded, not smart. So when you tell them about gold, they're too stupid to understand or absorb it or listen to reason. They don't get that you can print the money to death. They think you can just print more money. They don't get that if you keep printing it, it becomes worthless. That's the most critical thing that people do not understand. I'll just, no, you can't print anymore. You printed too much now. It has no value because you printed $21 trillion in the US and $130 trillion for your stupid petrodollar, which now, because they want gold for the oil, they don't want. And then people don't need the dollar because they only used it for oil. And if they don't need it for oil, they'll use their own currency. That's why all the central banks are buying gold. To buy the oil, they need the gold, and to get the BRICS gold-backed currency. So that's what it is. But you got to understand the simple concept. If you keep printing, it's worthless. If you keep eating a piece of cake, you're going to get fat. Right? You can have a piece, and then maybe next week have a piece, but you can't have a piece every day or a whole cake or whatever and not get sick and not get fat and everything else. So you must understand that. I swim every day because I know it's the same thing. Instead of eating the cake every day and getting bad, I know if I go in the pool and run and get on the bike every day, I'm probably going to be healthy. So that's what happens. So anyway, if you back your dollars with gold and silver, nothing can happen to them because you can't print gold and silver. So they are limited. They're limited, and stable. You can't print anymore. You can dig about 3,000 tons out of the ground, which is nothing. So let's say there's 160,000 tons of gold. That's it. And of it, most of it's already garnered into banks, what we have, and things like that. And that's where you're at with it. So there's not a lot. The only reason I can buy it and you can buy it is people are returning it. Maybe there's some new 2024 stuff, but basically, when I go to the coin store, I'm buying what people return. That's it. So keep that in mind. You can't print gold. That's why it's the gold standard. It can't get fucked up because you can't print more of it. So you can print money where it's worthless, but you can't print gold. So gold's very limited, and then it's been bought by the central bank. So there's huge demand, and there's just not a whole lot left. That's why I caution you, if you're thinking, well, when gold hits 10,000 an ounce, silver will go to 1,000 an ounce, and I'll take 10 ounces of silver to buy an ounce of gold. And the theory's right, but will you be able to find $10,000 ounce gold? That's where the problem lies. Will you even be able to find gold when it hits 10,000? Everybody will have bought it by then. So a couple people will sell it and take the 10 grand, but be careful with that idea. So right now I'd buy more gold than silver with the intention, but I would buy some silver because we know it's cheap. And when Yankee Doodle Dandy says he'll never see $100 in his lifetime, I guess he's going to die in 6 months because he doesn't know what he's talking about. But that's why you can't listen to the guy. You got to be careful who you're listening to. That's why you have to understand it. Right? We understand you bet the defense in the NFL and in college. That's the key, right? You're looking for strong defenses. And in the same thing here, you got to be careful who you listen to. These fake economists who are salesmen who, Lynette Zhang, she's a fucking stockbroker. She's not an economist. She doesn't know what she's talking about. We're already in hyperinflation. Oh, really? So the prices of bread and milk are going up every day? I don't think so. That's what hyperinflation is when the public gets hyper and they get scared and they go to the store and it keeps getting bid up. That's what happened in Germany. You walked in with a wheelbarrow. You would get paid at lunch. You'd go get your milk and eggs and butter. And then you get paid at the end of your shift and you take that money and the prices had already gone up. That's why they were paying them like every couple hours until it broke and they weren't worth anything. Why did the Deutschmark go to zero then? Why didn't it keep a value? Because there was too many of them. Nobody wanted it, right? Because if you think about it, they're printing 1 billion Deutschmarks a day. Well, couldn't you take it and buy? Because they had no value. So even if you printed it and you had $100 Deutschmark, it wouldn't buy you a pack of gum because the money was worthless and the cost won't up because it's worthless. So you want to get $10, but the $10 is worth 10 cents. So you need $1 million to get to $10 because you keep printing it because you don't understand the basic concept. That's why you need gold-backed currency. And the most successful period in life was gold-backed currency. The Romans were very successful and they used gold. When they stopped using it, they collapsed, as the French, Spanish, English, Dutch, and now the US. We used it. It was very prosperous. That's how we grew. And now we don't want to use it anymore. Nixon takes us off of it and we're in big shit. We have all these stock market crashes and recessions and everything because of that. That's why, if we're on the gold standard, did we have one stock market crash? Did we have one recession from 1879 to 1914? I don't think so. And that's your problem because you overprint it, you kill the value, and then you fuck around with interest rates. And the Fed thinks they can control the interest rates, which they can't. And that's the problem. So these idiots that are in charge don't know what they're in charge of. Oh, I'll just raise interest rates. That'll slow the economy and that'll slow inflation. Inflation is not prices. It's you printing the money to death, you idiots. But if you know the root concepts, then you don't listen to these guys. And then you come to me and go, well, you got a question. Okay. And we talk about it. But do you listen to, Peter Schiff? Fuck, why would you listen to this guy? Andy Scheckman, I showed you, doesn't know what he's talking about. Mark McGuire, kind of, and Egon, kind of, but they're really not economists. But they do seem to, have a grasp of COMEX and brics and stuff like that. Egon understands that, well, I got the government, they're going to keep printing money and it'll go to zero. That's why he calls it wealth preservation. He goes, well, this will keep your value. I tell you to buy gold and silver. You got 100 grand in the bank. What do you think it's worth now? Like I told Bobby yesterday. So Bobby had a 35-year, $1 million a year contract. Okay, but the million in the year one is worth $1 million. The million in year 30 is worth 200,000. He's getting fucked because the money is worth less now than it was in year one. So the best is Bobby to get paid in gold. And if he would have got $1 million in gold, it would have went up. It wouldn't have went down. It wouldn't have been inflated. It would have gained in value because as the dollar goes down, the gold's worth more. So he would have started with $300 an ounce gold, and now it's $2,400 an ounce. And he's getting, so many, a million, not 1 million ounces, but whatever it would have, 500 ounces a year. Now it's worth a lot more. But that's what happens. So why? So you think you have money, you don't. It loses value because these idiots are printing it. And people don't get it. Well, they'll just print more money. Yeah, but it won't be worth the same. That's the fallacy. The money printed is not worth the same. So that's why you can't just print $36 trillion and pay off the debt. Because the 36 trillion that you print isn't worth anything. And therefore, you can't pay off the debt with fake money, right? Now, if you got gold and revalued gold to 20,000 an ounce, you could pay it off. But they're not smart enough. The central bank wants to keep their monopoly. JP Morgan wants to keep the monopoly. Therefore, they don't want gold because then you won't need money. So that's the dilemma. They never should have got the monopoly on money printing. That's just fucking ridiculous. It's not in the Constitution. There should even be a central bank. And the last thing you want is to make a fucking bank the monopoly of printing money. But again, JP Morgan wrote all those rules in 1913 and fucked everybody up. That's why the Constitution should not be changed. This is the rules. 10 yards for a first down. JP Morgan, let's make it 8 for a first down. Oh, okay. No, the game is 10 yards, 4 downs to get a first down. Not that. That's like changing the fucking kickoff. What are they thinking? We don't want to get anybody hurt. Why don't we just play flag football then? No more tackling. I mean, it's so stupid. Then good luck getting people to watch your sport. Anyway, so the key is always to understand the concept, the critical thing. What do I need? I need defense in football. I need gold to keep the dollar worth, to keep its value. I buy gold because I know, so we know the dollar's being printed to death. We know it's going down. We know the petrodollar is gone. So all the dollars are coming back. We know Japan and China have a lot of T-bills and they're going broke. So they need to sell the T-bills back to us. So they want to claim so a bond, it's like you buy a 5-year bond and you're going to get 5% a year for 5 years. And then the government should pay you back. So you give them $10,000. So you get 5% a year, and then you get the $10,000 back at the end. You cash out the bond. Give me my $10,000. Maybe you paid $8,000 for it. It'll be worth $10,000 at the end of 5 years. That's how you they figure in the interest. So China and Japan are like, we need the money now. So they need to cash in the T-bills and get the money. We don't have money to give them. But see, that's what they're doing. So they're getting out and buying gold with them. But then we get all this money back, which is much more inflation. So now we got more money back in. We got to print more money to pay them off because we don't have the money. So that's the problem. So when they don't want the T-bills and they want to buy gold with it, which again, as you run out of supply of gold, the price goes up because I want it. It's like the football analogy, right? Luke's brother sells the tickets as a broker. So he buys them, and then you want to go to Michigan, Ohio State. Well, there's no tickets at the box office because Luke's brother bought them all. So now if you want them, they're much more limited. You got to pay more for them. So as there's more demand than there is supply, the price goes up. He says, I'm going to charge you $2,000, and you don't have a choice. You can't get the tickets anywhere else. So you buy them from Luke's brother. That's what's going to happen with gold and silver. As people figure out they need it because the dollar is going out, they go, oh shit, I need gold. But as the gold supply goes out, then you're going to need more money. And that's why the price keeps going up, because the central banks want them. We want them. It's not even recorded us. It's all derivatives. That's why the derivatives are going out, because they're going to, when the U.S. runs their derivative, China and India and Russia are calling them on and saying, okay, deliver that money deliver me gold at 2,400. And they have to, because the law changed. And so the U.S. has to get the gold because they don't have it. So eventually it'll be, they'll have to pay more and more to pay these contracts off, pay these COMEX. And then once they do that, price keeps going up and up and up till we get a physical price, not a paper price. And that's coming, like the Titanic hitting the iceberg. It doesn't sink in 5 minutes. It's such a big boat. It takes hours to sink. And that's where we're at. It takes hours for these derivatives. It takes, months for the derivatives to go away and the boat to sink. And that's all we're waiting for. So we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. All these countries are buying gold hand over fist, but when they buy it, they're buying tons, right? The Czechoslovakia, the Polish central bank, they'll buy 11 tons of it, 32,000 ounces a ton. There's not a lot of gold left. That's what my point is. And the only way to get it will be to drive the price up. So as the price goes up on gold, because the demand's gone, just like the football tickets. You want to go see Ohio State, Michigan? You're paying $5,000 for 50-yard line because the tickets are sold. So the only way to get the tickets is by somebody who bought them wants to sell them. So I got gold. The only way I'm selling them is I paid like $1,800 for a lot of my gold. The only way I'm selling is you add a zero to that. 18,000, I'll start maybe if I need to sell some. But not at 1,800, not at 2,400. I didn't buy 1,800 to sell at 2,400. I bought 1,800 because the dollar's going to zero, and I need to have an asset that won't lose its value. That's why I say Rolex and Mantle cards, because there's huge demand for them, and they have a high value, and it isn't going anywhere. That's why you do it. The stocks are totally manipulated. And the money's being printed, so the money's losing its value. So you need a real asset. Rolex is Rolex. You can't fuck with it. You can't. They only print. They make one a year. So you got to go to the Rolex jeweler who has Rolex. Say, I want this $60,000 Rolex. They'll make it, and it'll take a year. But there's not like 100 Rolexes that you can buy unless you buy used, and they're more expensive. So that's why, but that'll hold your value. That price isn't going down. So that's what you want, are things that won't go down. And the things that won't go down are very limited with high demand. Rolex, Mantle cards, gold, and silver. And silver is still manipulated, so they keep the price down. Hey, Greg and Jen. I thought I was your hero. Bobby Bo's your hero? Okay. So that's the thing. So the price drops. You won't, if it's very limited with high demand, the price won't drop. Rolexes and stuff like that. But the dollar is not limited, and it's not highly in demand. A lot of countries don't want it anymore because of the games that the government plays. So they're all running to the BRICS because it's gold back. Where it's going to be. And when it is, then they'll all run to BRICS and say, I want to join because I want a gold back currency. Or you can just buy gold because they can't print it. So it will always hold its value. Anyway, that's the philosophy. That's the variable that you're looking for. That's why you buy it. You can't print it, and the dollar is being printed, as is the euro and the Swiss franc, the British pound, the Canadian. Every currency in the world is being inflated to death, except for Zimbabwe, who's on the gold back, and then BRICS, who's going to a gold back. And I can't imagine they won't go to it in October because China and Russia are being sanctioned, and they need to, their money is worthless. I mean, forget it. The yuan's worthless. The yen, China, Japan's worthless. India has been heavily inflated. Saudi Arabia wants gold for oil. So everybody's on the same page, and all the central banks are buying the gold hand over fist. That's the whole key to it, right? They're doing it because they want to get out of the dollar, so it's more noticeable. Oh, yeah, they sold all these dollars and bought 10 tons of gold. Why? Because they know the dollar's going out and gold's going up. It's a simple, very simple analysis. So that's all you got to do is just go there and you'll be fine. And that's it. That's about as simple as you can get on what's going on. Now they'll tell you, oh, the dollar won't go out. If you keep printing, it'll go out. Look at the fucking Romans. I don't get how people. So if these idiots were living in Roman Empire in 200-300 AD after Christ, they'd be saying the same. Oh, we can't go out. We're the Roman Empire. Oh, yeah. And then what happened at 500 AD? There is no more Roman Empire because your currency is worthless. People don't get that the currency can be worthless. That's why I bring the chocolate cake in. If you eat a chocolate cake every day, you will gain a lot of weight. So you can't say, well, look at me. I weigh 150 and I have, chocolate cake. Yeah, keep eating that for a couple months. You'll be 190, right? So if you keep printing the dollars, it won't be worth anything. There'll be too many dollars out there. And then who wants the dollar? See, that's the thing. There's a better alternative than keeping my money in the bank, which is gold, which is a Rolex. I'd rather be in that. Why would I want to be in money? It's being printed and it's losing value. And and we know, but they've lost 99% of its value. We know that. A Pepsi was a dime, is now $2.50, $2.80 for a can of Pepsi. But it was a dime. Well, what is that? That's lost the value. It's taken more dollars to buy the same can of fucking Pepsi. That's how the dollar loses. $25,000 for a house is now $500,000 for a house. The house is the house, but it takes more dollars to buy the house. So the prices aren't really going up. It's the dollar being printed. It loses value. They call it purchasing power. Same thing. The more you print, then it loses value until it just goes to zero. Germany, you can see it. Russia's on its 7th ruble. You see what's happening in Pakistan, Sri Lanka. You see what's happening in Zimbabwe, Venezuela, and Argentina. Well, why is there mass inflation? Because these idiots are printing the money to death. And that's what happens to overprinted money. So there's so many examples out there. That's all you need. Don't listen to me, but look. And you can see what's happening. Look, why has Venezuela got this inflation? Because they're printing the fucking money, and it's not backed by gold. That's why. And so everywhere, Japan's about to go out. India's about to go out. China's about to go out because they're all printing the money because you can't do that. You can't print it. It has to be stable. That's why it should be backed by gold because that's all you can make. You can only print what you have in gold. And the value of the gold should be going up, but everybody's afraid in the U.S., well, if the gold goes up, they'll buy the gold. They won't want the dollar. Well, I got news for you. They're all buying gold. They don't want the dollar now, but thank you for keeping the price of gold cheap. so we can buy more and more and more, right? Because we know just as the Roman Empire went out and the French with Napoleon went out, we know what's happening here. It's going out. But since you're keeping that price low, we can go run and buy more and more gold and silver and stack up more and more and more. Like I said, I'd love to get 110, but there's no way I'll get to 32,000 ounces. 32,000 ounces in a ton. It's unbelievable. So anyway, yes, there's a lot of gold, but there isn't much left that isn't already owned. Silver, we don't know how much it is, but I would say there's not a lot of silver left either. They're just, people own it. Like I have 600 ounces. They have no idea. It's not kept anywhere. So that's the problem, is nobody knows, right? Nobody knows what I have, what Bobby has, what Greg or John has, what Nick has. Nobody knows our little thing, so you can't track it. The question is, so when I go to the coin store, it's these bars are made by these other mints, and they're just keep chopping the bars, and there's a little bit of, but I'm seeing worse condition silver. It's not good condition silver. So there's very little I want to buy, and it's old and rusted, and no. So they're really getting to the bottom of the barrel. But as far as barter, all right, let's clear that out. What is barter? Barter is, if, let's say this is $50, but instead of dollars, I will take Oreo cookies for this. So you give me 10 boxes of Oreo cookies and I'll give you the Canadian Club. That's what barter is. But these idiots think that you're going to barter with silver. Okay, if I'm bartering with silver, what am I buying? Because that means the dollar's gone. So if the dollar's out, what are you selling it for? Nobody knows. So you're not really, you're buying it with silver, but I don't think it's barter. Now you're saying, well, wait a minute, the dollar isn't gone and it is worth $50, and I'll use $50 worth of silver to buy it. That's not barter. That's just paying with money, as if you're paying with the dollar bills. I wouldn't waste my time with these dimes, quarters, half dollars, silver. Buy the fucking ounce. And if you are truly bartering with it, which I doubt, then they'll give you change. I mean, so if I go to my barbecue place and I go and buy my $30 chicken and rib dinner, and I give them an ounce of silver because it's worth $30, they'll take it. Is that barter? No. That's me paying for it with money. The same, it's better than using my debit card. That's not barter. It's, like I said, it's like if I, if I took my Mahomes card, well, let's say I took the Berry card, and this is worth $200 because nobody likes them. So can I go to the restaurant and get $200 worth of stuff and give them the card? I guess that's what barter is, but it's trading one thing for another is barter. I'm going to give you oranges for a chicken dinner. That's what barter is. It's using non-money. Silver is not non-money. Silver is money. So I don't know what they're talking about. These people talk about like debasement. The basement's only $1. It's a gold that has no gold. You've debased the gold. You're taking the gold out. That's the basing. You're not debasing the dollar. This is not being debased. This is strictly being inflated. You're printing it to nothing. It's not debasement. You can only debase coins. You can only take the gold out of the coins. You can't debase dollars. And yet they'll still talk debasement like they know what they're talking about, and they're all fucking idiots. None of them knows what they're talking about. You cannot debase the currency unless it's taking the gold out of a gold coin. That's the only thing that's debased. So I get frustrated when I hear these guys because they think they're all experts and they're all idiots. Anyway, I think that's about it. It's going to be, let's go swimming. It's 2:00. So I'm going to go enjoy the day. Again, baseball. So the picks today, we have The Yankees over, I think it's 9, 3 units. Washington over 9, 3 units. KC over 9, 3 units. Pittsburgh, 2 units. Baltimore over 8 or 9, 3 units. Cincinnati under 9, 3 units. Houston, 3 units. San Diego over 8.5, 3 units. Philly over 8, 3 units. And Minnesota to beat the White Sox to keep their losing streak alive, 3 units. So that's what we have. I'll be on tomorrow right around 11 o'clock, 11:30 on the Sunday. So go enjoy. It's sunny out. Go to the beach, go to the lake, go golfing. Just enjoy and relax. Keep that blood pressure down. All right, everybody. Have a great day. My pleasure. And I will see you tomorrow. www.teaserking.com. All right, everybody. Take care.